In this video, I'll show you how to use advanced theme options to change the design of your AppMachine app. This will influence how all the screens in your app will look. To get started, open your app, go to the top left corner of the screen where you see the green theme Lego block. Click on that and that'll open your theme settings here on the right. Click on Advanced. First, we're going to change the look and feel of the navigation bar. That's the header in your app which is shown at the top of each page. Let's change the color of the navigation bar. Click in the color field and select another color and save it. With the next setting, you can influence the color of the text and icons in the navigation bar. In general, it's best to use the best contrast setting. AppMachine will automatically apply a color which will result in the best readable text using your selected background color. And if you change your color palette later, it will always look good. The Show Title option will ensure the title of your app is shown on each page. You can use that, for instance, if your app has tab bar navigation. You will learn more about that in the home screen video. You can also show your logo at the top of each screen. That's great for your brand awareness. Let's upload a logo from my desktop. And here we have a nice logo. Now the next thing to look at is the background. Currently, the background is not configured yet, but we can change that to a color of your choice. You'll see the selected color in the preview. Change the opacity of the background color with this slider. Make your app look more lively by adding a gradient background color to your app. Choose the colors of the gradient by selecting the start and the end color. You can even change the opacity and the place in the screen where the gradient should start. You can adjust this completely to your likings. This is a radial gradient, so it now starts from the center, but we can change that to start from the top right corner of your app. And you'll see how that looks in your app. Explore these settings further by just trying out the different options to see what you like best. The last thing we can do is add a background image. So I'm going to upload an image here. You can see that this image is too strong compared to your text. There are a few ways to solve this. For one, you can use a filter, for example, the grayscale filter that'll make it look like a black and white image. Second, there is also a sepia filter that will give your image a more old-timey look. Third, you can put a colored layer over the image, which I would suggest to use when you have a strong image like this. You can see that you still see the image, and there is a good contrast between your texts. You can also change the opacity of the colored layer. The last thing I will show are the shapes. You can change the border and shape of your buttons. Let's make our buttons look a bit different. Just click this lock so you can change the four corners independently. To make these two right corners square, change them to 0, and that will give you a button shape like this. You can also change this back to the old setting and change this to 0, and it'll give you a button shape like this. You can use those same settings on your input fields, which is the shape around these text inputs. And lastly, you can also influence your cards in your app. Let's take a look at your font settings. Currently, your font has a base size of 16. You can increase this to make all of your fonts in your whole app larger at once. You can also modify the way the different type of text separately. You can make the font weight of your headlines more bolded by selecting font weight of 600. Next to your headline, the body font is probably most important for your app. Let's make that text a little bit easier to read by increasing the font weight. Increase that up to 500 and you'll see it becomes easier to read. The line height is the space you see between one line and the next line. To increase that space, increase the line height to 110% and that looks even better. If you want to change the font type itself, you can do that on your Settings tab. Watch the other videos to see how you can change the design of your app's home screen or to change the design settings of each specific block.